time?
We're live
Are we
right
on time?
now?
Was I late?
Welcome everybody to Talking with Natasha. Look who we've got here, Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
How was the New York City traffic?
It's insane, as
It's
usual.
insane. It teaches
like the
you
rest
patience.
of humanity.
Oh yeah, it teaches you patience,
Yes,
right? What did you
yes.
learn today?
Nothing, because I'm very patient anyway.
Um,
And I've disconnected from insanity
wow, how do you do that?
by non-judgment.
Okay, it's hard to not be judgmental sometimes.
Yeah, especially about politics. But even there, I've dissociated.
Really,
Hmm?
I've been following you for so long.
Oh,
For years and years and years, and I feel like you were the wellness guru before it became the cool buzzword thing to do.
Whatever. Yeah.
Now we've got so many people who are wellness gurus and they're mindful, but you really started it off. You've written over 90 books, sold millions of copies, Time Magazine's most iconic people. And what is next for you as you continue to evolve?
Right now, I'm focused on something I've always thought about, but at my age, 78 plus, I'm focused on what is fundamental reality, what is the meaning of death, why do we exist, what is existence, how come we are aware that we exist, and how come everybody that I meet is sleepwalking without being totally surprised that they exist.
Yeah. What do you think happens to us after we die?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing
There's-
happens to you. Your body disappears. Your mind goes into another state of incubation. But your essential being doesn't die. It's like the space in this room if the walls disappear. Right now, the walls in this room create the space we're in.
Hmm.
And we think that this space has a boundary, but it doesn't. The space between my fingers, the space between these walls, the space between your thoughts, the space between your breath, the space between every intention, every emotion, every experience is the same space. And it has no boundaries. And what you call your body-mind is like a wave on the ocean. So think of infinite consciousness as the best metaphor, infinite space. In Eastern wisdom traditions, it's called Chitakash. Chit means it's mental space and it's infinite. Now, that mental space, like the ocean, which think of the ocean as a metaphor, and it's constantly kind of bubbling as waves. And the waves, if they're human, they think, oh, that's me. But it isn't. The wave is not separate from the ocean. And just like a drop even is not, it's all water. And so the essence of existence doesn't disappear. It just incubates and then recycles as a new body, mind, or whatever, based on the impressions, what again in Eastern traditions are called karma, but karma is another word for experience and choices. That acts like seeds for a new life. Or another metaphor would be the screen on your TV set or the screen on your computer or whatever. The screen is consciousness. And on the screen, all these characters and movies and, soap operas and news box, this, that, the other, those programs are not fundamental reality. The screen, without the screen, you have no program. So, and the program itself is a fluctuation of the electrons on the screen. So the screen remains there, the experiences come and go. So if you stop identifying, that was what I started with, stop identifying and insisting that this experience is mine, then you actually identify with the screen or the ocean, which is eternal. It has infinite programs, infinite movies. So don't confuse yourself with the movie. You're the producer, the director, the choreographer, and the main character for you is you in the movie. But you're not in the movie. You're the source of the movie.
I feel, but where does your soul go?
That is what the soul is. It doesn't go anywhere. It's eternally outside of space-time. Just like this space doesn't go anywhere if the walls disappear. Or the screen doesn't go anywhere when the program is over. You know, you have Netflix, you have Fox, you have this, you have that. But the screen doesn't go anywhere. So your soul, like that, plays infinite roles on the screen of existence, which is eternal.
I feel like so much of what we've been taught is if you do good, you'll go to heaven. If you do bad, you'll go to hell. You have these, you grapple with these big ideas. What's your take on that?
Simplistic. They're very simplistic and therefore false renditions of states of mind. So what you call heaven is a healthy state of mind, peace, love, compassion, joy, equanimity. What people call hell is a tortured state of mind. And what people call purgatory is in between.
Stuck.
But stuck. And so actually, now you've given me a good definition. What happens to a death? States of consciousness shift. Just like ice can become water, water can become steam, can become a cloud, can become water vapor, can become a rainbow, can become rainfall, then can become rain, then can become a stream, a puddle, a pool, a waterfall, a stream, a river, back to the ocean. Okay, so the wateriness of existence doesn't change. It assumes different experiences, which is great because, you know, that means this experience that you're having, you and me, it'll be over. And for everyone, for you and me and all those watching. But you'll still go along and have another experience, right? Whatever that is. You're going home, you're meeting your significant other, you're watching a movie. So experiences come and go. They don't remain static. If they did, we would be mummified. Let's say your experience as a child was static, then you would worry. As a, you know, if a child didn't develop, you'd say, what's wrong? A teenager would be, if it was stuck at being a teenager, you would say, what's wrong? Something is wrong. So life is a dynamic process of shifting, changing identity. If I say, what's your identity? You'll say this. But then it wasn't this when you were a teenager or when you were a child. And it won't be this as you move along. A fixed identity is an illusion. There's
it
no
takes
such
different
thing.
forms.
It takes
evolves.
different forms. That's what your soul does.
One question I always want to know is, what does Deepak Chopra, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
I actually, before I go to sleep at night, I introduce an intention for a lucid dream in which a question I'm having is answered very vividly. And so the question might be like the question you asked. And then in the morning, it's very obvious that because I practice lucid dreaming.
How do you do that? You're able to tell yourself, ask yourself a question, and allow yourself to dream the answer?
No, the dream and the sleep state actually gives you the answer because your subconscious mind already knows the answer. And in sleep. Your mind is asleep. Your conscious mind is asleep, but your subconscious mind is very creative.
Yeah.
And so the best ideas I get are every night at sleep.
Wow.
And then in the morning, I kind of write them down, and then sometimes it becomes a book, or sometimes it becomes a video, or sometimes it becomes something. And otherwise, then after I do that, that's the first thing I do. I don't want to forget what happened at night.
You write it down in the morning?
No, actually, yeah. I make notes in the morning, and then I even might do a video or something short for myself. Then I do yoga and everything else. I don't start my day till 11, official day, and I don't work after 5, and I don't work on weekends. So my life is a perpetual holiday.
Yeah. You earned it. For so long, you've been working so hard.
Yeah, but it was always kind of a adventure. I never thought of work. I thought, this is an opportunity for revelation or whatever you would call it.
I would love to take some questions because we've got so many people asking really good questions. So Tiffany asks, how can we let go of the ego without losing our identity?
Well, if you let go of your ego, you will lose a certain aspect of your identity, but your identity will expand. And the bigger our identity is, the more joy we experience. Think, let's take a metaphor. We are like, let's say you're a little microbe in a petri dish in a lab, and you have no idea that there are many other petri dishes in the lab. You have no idea that the lab is in a hospital. You have no idea that the hospital is in a city, which is in a country, which is on a planet, which is in the solar system, which is part of a galaxy, which is part of 2 trillion galaxies. So I would rather have that big identity that I'm a citizen of the universe rather than a microbe in a petri dish. So that's it. Your ego identity is very constricted and very fearful and need of validation. And, it's not you, it's your selfie. You see, our culture has confused ourselves for our selfies.
Speaking of which, social media, it's
all about that.
It's all about selfies. It's all about vanity. And
I don't use social media for that, but I do use social media.
Yeah. Well, how do you distinguish?
To explore ideas. That's mine. I only ask myself, how can I give people an experience of a joyful, energetic body, love, compassionate heart, clarity of mind, higher consciousness, and that keeps me going.
Do you ever go on the Explore page and see where everyone's traveling and be like, I want to go there?
I've traveled everywhere, anyway. Now I travel other dimensions of space and time.
Fair enough, fair enough. You are, though, dabbling, and you've jumped into the world of AI, and you have an AI twin. What's it like having an AI twin?
It's actually quite exciting because, you see, my AI twin has my personality, has my vibe, you might say, has all my 97 books in it. It has every conversation I've done on social media. This will ultimately go into my twin, when outside, my twin will get this. And so it has more content than I can personally remember. And it can also put it together in a very meaningful way. And it keeps evolving. It's what is called a RAG model. So if something gets outdated, it's revised. So generations from now, my AI will be alive and contemporary, and I hope cool.
It's such a great concept. So this is DeepakChopra.ai.
Yeah.
And people can go on there and they can ask anything.
In any language.
In
right
any
now,
language.
The most common languages that the people ask, and they get me answering in their language with this accent.
Wow.
So you can ask a question in Spanish, English, Arabic, and Hindi, and soon Chinese and Russian.
What are the biggest questions that people are asking?
They ask every question, and they ask things like, I can't go to sleep at night, can you give me a meditation? Or I'm having issues with my boyfriend or girlfriend, and the AI will engage in a conversation and say, what are the issues, can I help you, etc. And then the AI will understand the context, the meaning, the relationship, and based on 97 books and 45 years of experience, it'll give an answer which right now people seem to be very happy with.
Yeah, I think that AI is such a valuable tool in therapy. We're starting to see that.
Right.
It's a gateway.
It
and
is.
Do you think that your AI twin can gain consciousness and
No AI will ever gain consciousness. People don't understand consciousness. Consciousness is subjective experience, like hunger, like thirst, like the experience of love or anger or existential suffering. It is subjective experience. AI can simulate that, but it has no fundamental creativity, has no experience, doesn't feel hungry or doesn't have sex or doesn't think of, oh, what happens to me after my death? It doesn't think of those things, but it can answer these questions because it simulates everything. So it's a perfect simulation, but it has no subjectivity. Therefore, it is not conscious. Only consciousness is conscious, which is a difficult thing to people to understand. You and I are not conscious. We are experiences in consciousness. Just like this is an experience in consciousness, that plant is an experience in consciousness, animals are experiences in consciousness. You and I are also experiences in consciousness. Only when we become self-aware and find our identity beyond the ego, then we become conscious. Otherwise, everybody walking in New York City, I look at people with amusement because they're all biological robots. They're all algorithms being triggered by people and circumstance into predictable outcomes, which are also algorithms. So unless you awaken to your true identity, which in Eastern traditions call enlightenment, no one's conscious, not even human beings.
Good segue to this question of what do you think is the biggest crisis facing humanity right now?
The biggest crisis facing humanity is a conflict of egos, and that has magnified itself into political conflict, communal conflict, religious conflict, social conflict, and it's always been there, by the way, since medieval times. But now we have modern capacities, nuclear weapons, cyber warfare, technology, even AI, and what modern capacities with ancient, primitive, tribal minds is a recipe for extinction. So unless we really understand who we are at the core of our being, as a humanity, we are sleepwalking to extinction. Ancient tribal identity and modern capacities, it's a bad recipe. And then there are other things that are happening: social injustice, economic injustice, gender justice, climate change, refugees. It's all leading to something which is catastrophic. But there's a solution. Even AI has a solution. If you go to AI and ask for solutions to all these, they're there. But do we have the willingness to first be aware of this and then do something? If we collectively created, just for lack of a better word, an experience of love in action on a mass scale, critical mass, we could have a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier and joyful world. Love is the key, but love not as a sentiment only or an emotion only, love as truth, that we are all interconnected, interdependent, and inseparable and entangled.
What is your advice for people if they have 5 minutes a day for, self-awareness or meditation, 5 minutes, what can they do to kind of reach that level of self-awareness?
I suggest taking 5 minutes, as you said, closing your eyes for a minute, observing your breath just to settle down, and asking 4 questions. Who am I? What do I want? What's my purpose? And what am I grateful for? And don't look for answers. Just ask those questions in a calm mind. And then what happens strangely is, like my night, life moves you into the answers, either through coincidences or synchronicities or meaningful coincidences, I said, or good luck, or being at the right place at the right time, or what spiritual traditions call the grace of God.
Is that because you're putting your intention out there in the universe? And is that...
You're putting your intention into your spirit, your consciousness, which has infinite organizing power. And yeah, that intention will provide the answer. Now, I'm going to say something very radical.
We love that.
Okay.
We love radical thoughts.
There's no universe. It's just an idea that
No universe.
There's no universe. There's no physical body, and there's no physical universe. These are human constructs for human perceptions within a very narrow band of perceptual activity. For example, your perceptual activity allows you to access only 300 to 800 nanometers wavelength of light. And there's a whole range of electromagnetic spectrum that you and I don't experience, but other species do. A bat experiences the echo of ultrasound. A snake experiences infrared. What does the world look like to 100 insect with 100 eyes? So what we call the universe is a human experience of a narrow band of perceptual activity, and it's actually the smallest band of what's available. Now with VR and XR is extended reality, MR, mixed reality, and immersive experiences, you and I will soon realize, I've already realized, but you will realize
one day
that everything we'll call the universe is just our ideas based on human perceptual experience. There are infinite universes, and now science is saying that, but they're all
like
simulations.
Well, that's what we're getting a few questions.
And they're all
Sydney
simulations.
Cooper, yeah, they're asking, are we in a simulation?
Yeah, we are. But who's creating the simulation is consciousness.
What is consciousness?
It's
a
a
being?
field of infinite possibilities. It's formless. It's spaceless. It's timeless. It's irreducible. You cannot comprehend it. But without it, there's no experience. Without it, there's no thought, there's no sensation, no feeling, no perception, and therefore no idea that we call a physical body, universe, whatever. So consciousness is the ground of all experience, not only in you and me, but in every living species, whether it's an insect or an animal, and they have different universes with leaky margins, because, when you call your dog or your pet, whatever name, say, hey, Peter, okay, the word Peter is a sound. And the dog has a different nervous system, so it hears a different sound, but it responds to Peter.
Right.
So like we are all in a virtual reality arcade, we're all playing virtual tennis or whatever virtual game, and we think this is the real world, but actually it isn't. The world, this is the virtual reality arcade that we call the real world or the universe, but behind that is an infinite consciousness that is creating infinite universes.
But who created the consciousness?
It is because it is outside of space-time, it is without cause. Cause occurs only once there's space and time. So we are now in this theater of what is called space, time, and causality. but it is the projection of something that is spaceless, timeless, and without cause, and fundamental and irreducible, and actually beyond your comprehension, because comprehension occurs through perceptual experience in space-time, and therefore even causality is a concept. It's not real.
So then what would motivate you every day if there's maybe not a goal that you're working to?
What I don't like the word motivation. It's a kind of a mental word, but I like the word inspiration, and that implies being in spirit. And motivation is very weak. It's like going to the gym for the first 5 days after New Year's resolution, and then it falls off. Or saying,
You see a ton
I'm
of
going
that.
to stop smoking, and then you start all over again.
Yeah.
That's motivation. Spirituality or inspiration, in spirit, means there's no going back. It's like a child that's born, can't return to the womb. And once you do that, then every experience is an adventure of wonder, curiosity, bewilderment, astonishment, and exhilaration.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
From my mother. Take it easy. She said, my mother was a very interesting person. Before I went to sleep at night, my little brother, she would tell us a story. And the story was from an ancient myth. But it was very like Bollywood, Hollywood, dramatic story. And then she would stop at what is called a cliffhanger. And she said, now go to sleep, dream up the rest of the story, make sure it has a happy ending, and make sure it's a love story. So every morning when we woke up, she said, what was the story? Where's the love element? And how did it end? So both me and my brother learned to frame everything as a love story, everything as an adventure, and there was no problem in the world that didn't have a happy ending. So that's how we were brought up.
That probably introduced you then to the lucid dreaming.
Yeah,
of
it
what
did.
you do.
Yeah, it did.
So you've been practicing that since you were a little boy.
Yeah, 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just kind of put your own meaning to it of the questions that you want to ask.
Yeah,
you changed it to make
it
your own.
reframes adversity into opportunity and opportunity into excitement.
Yeah. I mean, there really is something about how, like I recently did a podcast. I was a guest on a podcast. I had cancer in 2017, and I was very positive thinking through it all. And I think that really helped me beat cancer. I told myself I'm going to beat it.
What kind?
I had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Okay, good.
And
that's curable
that
too.
one's curable. But I wanted to do something good out of it. You know, as soon as I got diagnosed, I thought, okay,
you
I
are.
want to do something good through it. But I really think, don't you think that positive thinking, you can rewire your brain and it can
positive
change your
thinking,
outcome?
but also going into stillness where all the solutions are. You know, stillness, positive thinking, self-reflection, awareness, and then doing the right things, sleep, managing stress, good nutrition, all of that helps.
When someone is faced with adversity, whether it be cancer diagnosis or they're fired from their job, just what is the first things they can do to grapple with that and cope?
Ask yourself, what's the opportunity? Really. That's the first thing. But also recognize that how you frame the experience determines the outcome. Okay? How you frame the experience. Ask yourself, is this going to cause me suffering? Am I sure it's going to cause me suffering? Cause suffering? Am I 100% sure? What if the opposite was true? What if I didn't hold on to this belief? What's the opposite of this? How do I pursue the opposite? So it's reflection, meditation, reframing, and these days something called cognitive-based therapy, which is based on these ideas, reflective inquiry, because when you reflect, there's a solution to every problem. It doesn't matter what the problem is.
How do you reflect?
I start with those fundamental 4 questions. who am I? Am I this body or this mind or this person, or am I the consciousness in which this is another experience? Then I go deeper. What is my purpose? How can I serve? How can I help? What makes me happy? What brings me joy? What is one thing I can do to make another person happy today? And then, there's something very interesting about what we call gratitude. No matter what's happening, if you ask yourself, what am I grateful for? Then new opportunities open up. And gratitude is a window to abundance and to solutions and to creativity.
Happiness is the answer, and so is love.
Yeah, happiness is complicated. Happiness is based on your attitude to life, number one. Number two, your material success, money. And number three, the choices you make every day. So we make two kinds of choices every day. One's for personal pleasure, shopping, alcohol, sex, entertainment. Those choices make us happy, but for a short time. And then you have to repeat that experience to be happy again. But there's another choice that's called fulfillment. That's when you have meaning, purpose, and you know how to make other people happy. The fastest way to be happy is to make another person happy. And you don't have to, buy them expensive toys. Four A's: attention, deep listening; affection, deep caring; appreciation, noticing their uniqueness; and radical acceptance. Don't try to change them. It's hard enough for changing yourself when you want to change. So those 4 A's: attention, affection, appreciation, acceptance, and you're happy.
The world seems so divided, especially our country. It's just so political divisiveness across the country. Do you think there's ever going to be a time when everyone can agree and be on the same page?
It hasn't happened in thousands of years. The reason why it's much more dangerous right now is because of modern technologies. I gets really upset with you. Okay, I'm sending a nuclear weapon submarine there. Then the other person says, I'm sending another submarine there, a nuclear weapon. Everybody panics, and once in a while there can be a blunder. So we have to be very conscious of the fact that our current racial conflicts, national conflicts, international conflicts, gender conflicts, they're a perfect recipe for, I told you, extinction.
Yeah.
The human species is interesting. It was an evolutionary experiment which was amazing, but maybe it's a failed experiment.
My goodness, a failed experiment. That's
Yeah,
extinction.
just like dinosaurs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but had dinosaurs not gone, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We evolved because dinosaurs disappeared. And if we disappear, maybe another better species will evolve.
Do you think we're headed towards extinction?
I don't want to scare people, but
Your hesitation scares me.
but at this, the way we are behaving,
Yeah.
we're definitely, the algorithm says yes.
Like how many years? Or decades? Or
It's been building up for a long time. We urgently need to wake up to our true identity, which is divine, magnificent, creative, loving, conscious, and full of glory. If we don't do that, then, face it, there are 2 trillion galaxies. There are 700 sextillion stars. According to the James Webb Telescope, there are probably 60 billion habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy, based on what they call the biosphere. So biosphere means the right conditions, the right atmosphere, oxygen, this, that, the other, right temperature, right gravitational and other, electromagnetic ratios. But with all that precision, now our computers are saying 60 billion habitable galaxies in the Milky Way, 60 billion habitable planets in this way, in just the Milky Way galaxy. Multiply by 2 trillion galaxies, then our planet is not a grain of sand in all the beaches and all the deserts of the world. So go to a beach, pick up a grain of sand, hold it in your hand, and be gone with the next breeze. So if human extinction occurred, the universe wouldn't notice. There's so much life out there.
Puts it everything, all of your worries in perspective, doesn't it?
That's it. Get out of being a little microbe in a petri dish.
Do you think technology is going to be the end of us?
Technology could be the end, but it also could be the resurrection. It's a choice. You know, we are technologists. We created knives. You can kill a person with a knife. You can heal a person with a knife if you're a surgeon. We discovered fire. Had we not discovered fire, we wouldn't have this brain. Had we not discovered fire, we wouldn't have this net, because we now absorb micronutrients from food, and we have a very highly evolved brain because of the discovery of fire. Also, had we not discovered fire, we wouldn't have the steam engine. We didn't have the steam engine, you wouldn't have the industrial age. You didn't have the industrial age, you wouldn't have technology age, you wouldn't have AI. Between the ages of 1887 and 1903, humanity created the light bulb, the automobile, the airplane, and the telephone. And that is 18 years. So let's pretend for a moment that you were shipwrecked in 1885, you were rescued in 1905, 20 years, and you left New York City before you took the cruise, and now you're back on New York City, and you're looking around. Where do those horses and carriages go? Where's all this fecal matter on the streets? What happened? You still see them, but now you see buggies and people who are dressed in fashionable clothes, speaking on the phone. We leapfrogged in 20 years into a new culture, a new civilization. With AI, we're going to leapfrog again, not only culturally and socially, and I dare say, and when I say this, a lot of people roll up their eyes, but it doesn't matter. If you hang in here for 20 years, and you will, you're young and vibrant and healthy, in 20 years, this world will be another world, and you as a biological species will have gone from human to metahuman. You'll be a new species because your neural networks will change as a result of new experiences with AI and blockchain and VR and MR and immersive experiences. Neural networks will change, genetic activity will change, and you will be another species. In the same way as we leapfrog from chimpanzees into Homo sapiens, we will leapfrog from Homo sapiens into metahumans.
It's fascinating.
It is.
It's truly fascinating. We have to leave the conversation. I could talk to you all day. We have to leave the conversation there.
It's okay.
There's so many questions I have for you. You'll have to come back. But thank you so much
Thank
for
you
joining
for having me.
So great to talk to you.
Thank
and just I've followed you for so long, so it's just so wonderful to finally meet you.
It's a
Deepak,
privilege.
thank you so much, and thank you everyone who has joined us too. Continue to ask your questions, and we'll see you at the next episode. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you.